Run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and
does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Tonight we are turning Japanese, and what's more, we're under the floodlights for the JPB GT4 Championship Season 3, Round 10, live and direct from the virtual recreation of Twin Ring Motegi. It's going to be the second time that we have a night feature race. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Joining me very shortly will be Mr. James Parfitt, but we have got a little bit of news to talk to you about. Firstly, of course, week 13 coming up on iRacing very, very soon. Big update, of course, the big talking point, rain. Further updates, there is a possibility that round 11, the scheduled Red Bull Ring race due to take place 1 week from today, might not go ahead. So this is the possibility where we might see that Twin Ring Motegi brings us to the final curtail of what has been a fantastic season so far. Of course, last week we unveiled the calendar for the forthcoming GT4 Global Challenge, which will have its first bit of action towards just after week 13, latter part of March, and then we're going to be racing Media Day at Monza. Then we're going to have a fantastic calendar. We'll take you through that a little bit later on in the show. But first things first, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Pro driver standings coming into round 10 of the championship. Stein Veman from AIRaceSummaries.com, Jesse, leads the way on 520 points ahead of Mikey Pollard. Kim Andre Bjorklund rounding out a very close top three. Miles Owens from SimRace Sweden Esports is in fourth ahead of Team Vikings Anders Lilliorde. Tauno Oromets is in sixth ahead of Deck Crowther. Richard Simnor back to winning ways last week in the feature race is eighth ahead of Chris Barnes. Dan Pepples missing it. Well, he's not going to be here tonight, so Miles Owens again is going to have to run solo. SimRace Sweden rounds out the top 10 as Pepples. Mikey Pierce, Dan Babbage, Gavin Petty, Paddy Faulkner, Ewan Bremer, Michael Seal, Andy Jones, Tom Weston and Mikkel Lees round out standing orders in the pros. Going to the AMS, it is now a 50-point advantage. Quad Dash Racing's Tristan Engelstadt is a bit further ahead of Project 88 AMS Robert Stoughton than the latter would like to have at this moment. Rob Williams from Triple Play Gamma is in P3 on 464 points ahead of Torbjorn Mailer, Richard White, Rachel Hoff, Stuart Rice, Stuart Gibbons, Gary McFarlane and Chris Evans running at the top 10. Jess Rakowski Hauger, Austin Draper, Callum Mylan, Nicola Fornaciari, Stuart Pearson, Tom Anderson, Tom Bingham round out the standings in the AM driver classification. Looking at the pro team table now, we go to AIRaceSummaries.com. Tracy, duo of Pollard and Simner on 829 points thus far coming into this penultimate round of the championship. Sim Racing Norway, Bjorklund and Miller on 776, 3 points ahead of the pairing of Veman and Pierce at AIRaceSummaries.com. Jesse, Sim Race Sweden Esports, Miles Owens having to go solo again. Triple Blade Oscar, Project 88 Pro, DCW Racing Falkland PC, Team Vikings, DCW Racing Blue, Sim Race Sweden Esports late with Bremer still piloting that car and that team. 10th position ahead of DCW Racing and JWM. Last but by certainly no means least, the AM team table. Project 88 AM with White and Stoughton on 905 points, 65 clear of Gibbons and Williams and Triple Blade Gamma with Triple P Racing 3 rounding up the top 3, a further 35 points adrift. Quad Dash Racing's Tristan Engelstadt running solo has managed to get that team up to 4th place ahead of Evans and Milam in the Triple P Racing 1 crew. 180 points. They ran out the top 5 with JC Simsport, Sim Racing Norway late, Twisted Development Racing, TART, Performance Link Esports. And with that in mind, qualifying is now underway. We're about 2 minutes through. James Parfitt, good evening.
Good evening to you, dear sir. How are you?
All good, all good. We've had our fair share of trials and tribulations since a week has passed, but other floodlights here, of course, folks. One of the other things, it is a 1 hour feature race tonight, isn't it, James, if I'm very much mistaken?
It is. They do get their normal sprint race, but then they've got a 1 hour mini endurance. It's bordering on that sprint endurance kind of side of things. And they've got 40% fuel, which should, unless they're absolutely amazingly Batman, they should have to have 2 pit stops.
Yes, so that is going to really spice up the ante, because this is not the only time we have had a 1 hour feature. Actually, the last time was actually at Daytona, the Nascar road course. That was also a 1 hour feature night race. So everyone out on circuit, apart from the likes of Tristan Engelstadt and Robert Stoughton. But Torbjörn Mailer was the first driver to go out. Already we're seeing the first forays into the night here. Richard Simnor lights up the 4th sector purple, back to winning ways last week. And that was a very interesting couple of races at Mugello. But of course, Twin Ring Motegi, first opened back in 1997, now known as the Mobility Resort Motegi. This circuit runs at just under 3 miles, just over 4.8 kilometers, 14 turns. The IRL lap record set by Manabu Maxorido from Japan did that. Actually, funny enough, the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, round 4 at Motegi. I think it was possibly it was last year in the BMW M4 GT4 Gen 2. Of course, still running with the Gen 1 on iRacing. iRacing, please sort it out so we see the Gen 2 car here in the not too distant future. But with 10.5 minutes to go, James, Anders Liliorde is leading the way. 158.761, 8 thousandths ahead of Richard Simnor, with Stein Veman, Ewan Bremer, and Kim Andre Bjorklund currently rounding out the top 5. Good lap there from Nicola Fornaciari. Goes to within 3.5 tenths of Bjorklund. Currently leading the AMs in this 15-minute quali session. Yeah,
we are. We're just on board at the moment with Mikey Pollard. He's on his run from turn 9 up to turn 10, the sharp hairpin right-hander. And then this is probably where we should see most of the action. This very long straight it's got here at Twin Ring, and it's going to go all the way down, right the way down into turn 11. They start heading downhill, as you can see there as well. You got to pick your marker out in the dark, round about the 100 marker, start getting it on the brakes, start getting it down through the gears, and then around turn 11. And then you go through the twisty bits under the well-lit bridge, and then you go left. Then you're going to go left again, and then you're going to go right once more for that sharp turn, almost back on yourself, and then you're off down the start-finish straight as well. It's going to be very exciting in general, I think, here. I think this is the thing we're going to see with this race. It's going to be quite, combatant. It's a long time. You know, they're not just sitting there thinking, okay, well, I've got 45 minutes, I can hang this out. They haven't got time to hang this out. They've got to make sure that they ride up there as best they possibly can earlier on, try and get that space as well. I did a race, actually, for the first time ever on the oval circuit at Twin Ring. I was taking, what was I in? I was in trucks. No, Gen 4s. I was taking them around the oval. That was a very different experience, I will say, ever. But the oval is really quite cool around here.
Yeah, also actually happens to be the place where Danica Patrick actually secured the early win by a female racer at Twin Ring Motegi well over a decade ago. As I mentioned that, Anders Liliode goes quickest of everybody. Pip Stein-Beeman by 17 thousandths of a second. Kim Andre Bjorklund now up to third. Mikey Pierce, Richard Simnor, Ewan Bremer rounds out the top 6 overall. Gordon Hauger now 7th in the number 71 McLaren. We did have a chat with him after the antics at Mugello last week, and he said, well, 570S GT4 is pretty well sorted, so he's looking pretty good to maybe look for at least one win tonight, whether he can get the double. Nicola Fornaciari, who debuted a little bit earlier on this season in the Mercedes. Again, another rapid AM in the 22 Merc, is currently 9th overall on a 1 minute 59.70. Deck Crowther just had a big old moment, has just returned to garage. Tristan Engelstadt and Robert Stoughton have yet to go out to qualify. Rob Stoughton's already jumped in the chat, James, and gone, hi guys, its entry is hell. Yes.
I think him and Mr. Engelstadt have a deal about starting from the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what's taking place. Not entirely sure the full details of it. I did see a brief conversation between the two early on as well. So I believe that could be why we have not got times on the board from them gentlemen at the moment.
Same could be said for Torbjorn Mæhle, who has actually had every single lap out of the 3 that he's done so far invalidated. And he's on lap 4 of his push attempt. So everyone all the way down to Rachel Hoff have now put in a lap in qualifying. So we will have 21 cars on the grid. Richard Simnor up to P3. Best effort for the number 21 Porsche. 1 minute 58.509. And at the minute, well... meritocracy Porsche? I think so. Top 7 are all Porsches. Gordon Hauger, the best of the other marks in the McLaren. And you know what? But that's quickly changed because Nicola Fornaciari's just done quickest in the AMS overall and is only 0.64 off of Anders Liliode's fastest lap in this time qualifying session. 1 minute 58.67. Fornaciari 1 minute 59.104. So the Italian just hustling that Mercedes around here at Motegi.
Yeah, he's giving it a good old bit of a beans, and it looks like Torbjorn Mæhle may have just had another lap invalidated, unfortunately for him, and still no time on the board. So Torbjorn Mæhle there is going to have to try and hopefully get one in this next 5 minutes, because otherwise he could be starting dead last here. So that's going to be a shame for him if that does happen, of course. We've got the likes of Chris Evans out on track, Stuart Rice, of course, both people from the Triple P Racing stable. We've got Rob Williams here as well. He's from the Triple Blade Gamma with him and Stuart Gibbons in the Merc. Rob's switching over to the Porsche next season, by all accounts as well. So he will be in to the Porsche, as him and Chris Barnes, I believe, this time will be teaming up for the Triple Blade boys. So that's going to be an interesting development from them as well. He was 4 tenths slower than his fastest lap in the Mercedes here when Rob did a test within the first 18 laps of doing it. He was only 4 tenths slower in the Porsche than he was in the Mercedes after he's been driving the Mercedes for 2 seasons in a row.
Well, let's have a look at Kim Andre Bjorklund. Fastest in sectors 2 and 3, personal best in sector 5. Does he improve? Yes, he does on lap time, but by a fraction, and remains in 4th. He's got Gordon Hauger just up his exhaust pipe at the moment. Hauger, again, just really wrestling that McLaren 570S by the scruff of the rear wing. Deck Crowther, Rob Williams and Stuart Rice all are in its lane. Crowther 10th, Williams 12th. Kim Andre Bjorklund, that is not what you want to do there. Whoopsie daisy out of turn 4 by the Porsche.
Come on, Torbjorn, let's go. Can he get this? He's heading over the line. Is he going to get a time? Yes!
Yes! He
God.
does, 16th.
Yeah.
Half a second back off of Richard White in the number 8. And
Hey, he got a time on the board, Alex. That's all that matters
that's
for
the main
him.
thing.
Yeah, props to him. Didn't give up. The thing is, that's easily done in qualifying. When you're not getting times, you start rushing your laps, and then you start rushing it and making more mistakes. Clearly for Torbjorn, he settled in and got a time on the board. Yeah, was it quick? Hey, probably quick for him. Was it needed? Absolutely. So a great run there.
Yeah, so puts the Norwegian into 16th place with just under 3.5 minutes to go. Anders Lillejorda still top of the time sheets at the moment, but by over 0.13 of a second ahead of the points leader overall. Stein Veenman, Richard Simnor, 26 thousandths behind his teammates. Ray Bjorklund and Mikey Pierce ran out the top 5. Top 4 covered by just a fraction under 2/10, as we see legend that is Mr. Richard Simnor, Mr. Magic Pebble. That nickname stick, isn't it? He goes across the line, goes P2, 158.454, and that is just over a tenth. No, that's just over a tenth slower. Best effort of Anders Lillejorda. There has been a change a little bit further back as well. So, but Fornachari leads Am. Hauger needs to find a good 2/10 of a second to better Fornachari, but at the moment, he's improving at the minute. It's only through the second sector of the lap so far. Looking at his respective sectors, Hauger slower in sector 1. Sector 2 might be slightly quicker, but he's got to find 2/10 around the lap to get Am pole for this race, but it just depends on how far it puts him up the brightness on the likes of Pollard, Piercy, Bjorklund, et al. But that's going to be a bit of a tough order to do. So he's making his way through out of turn 8 into the left-hander here at turn 9 before they go on to that short shoot up to turn 10 and then the hairpin. I've commentated on races at Twin Ring Motegi actually with the old school Nissan GTPs, and 11, 12 and 13 I think are going to be the biggest pinch point on the circuit. Big time, because you've got a lot of directional changes. You've got to go hard on the brakes, 90 right. Then you've got a left, another left, and then you've got to slow down, go down the gearbox into the right-hander at turn 13. And you've really, and this just gives you an idea of how dark it is in the cockpit. Hello, Gordon Hauger, how are you? That's going to be where the real dramas, I think, are going to happen. But you're also going to have it on the run from turns 9 to 10, and then from 10 to 11. So the final sort of 2 sectors of this circuit, James, are really, really going to showcase how closely fought tonight's going to be.
I fully agree. It is a tough sector. It really is. And it's one where we've started Clios on here before, just before as well. We did the short track with the Clios, and they all found it tough as well. And I think it's just one of them sectors that you've got to make sure you nail. You can go all the way to the right here, no off track there. Bring it back in here, bring it in again. Oh, he's going into the pit lane, unfortunately for us, so that kind of sucked. Let's see if Torbjorn Mele will finish it off here as he's going around the left-hander of 12. Now left again through 13. He's got to be on the brakes, get it round the next corner, in for the final run. And now let's see if Torbjorn Mele's got a green in sector 4, mind you. Can he improve once more, as he's just about got a time on the board, but no improvements there, unfortunately, for him. So it's all going to be coming down to the end. I don't believe Kim R.J. Bjorklund is quite going to get there, Alex.
So, Anders Lillejorda takes pole position for the sprint race here at Twin Ring Motegi. The top 15 will be reversed post this race to give us our grid for the feature, the 1 hour night race. So, Anders Lillejorda, Richard Simnor on the front row with Stein Veenman and Ewan Bremer on row 2. Kim, Andre Bjorklund and Mikey Pierce on row 3. Mikey Pollard and Niccolo Fornachari leading Am ran out the top 4 rows with Gordon Hauger, Nick Crowther completing the top 10. Miles Owens and Rob Williams will be on row 6, ahead of Stuart Gibbons and Tano Odomets. Richard White and Torbjorn Melu will round out row 8. Chris Evans, Stuart Rice, Rachel Hoff, Robert Stoughton and Tristan Engelstadt, the latter two not setting lap times, completing the 21-strong grid. So this is going to be a very, very interesting race. We are waiting for everyone to line up. It looks like we're going to have a very short rolling lap here, James. I think, is that coming out from... Yeah, that's going to be heading down in... So, going to have to go down into turn 11. It's going to be down to seeing what... Well, we know what Mr. Simnor can on a great start. Anders Liliorde has also showcased good prowess. Of course, we saw him really fighting tooth and nail. I think it was with Simnor, the feature last time out at Mugello. Like, literally, Simnor had a response for every single move that Liliorde had in his playbook, and now we get to see them actually starting alongside each other on the front row, which is, I have to say, pretty exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think going forward with these two, the amount of times that Sidney was trying to block this and he was trying to hit the apex here and he was doing this and Liliorde was climbing all over the back of him, it's going to make this race absolutely amazing there as well. John Brown in chat, Porsche OP, maybe, slightly. And then Barnsley there, evening chaps, come on Blades and Triple P, he says there. So that's obviously part of the Triple P Blade Oscar, which is Crowther. Then we've got Gamma of Williams and Gibbons. Then we've got the Triple P boys of Evans, Rice, Hoff there as well. So a lot of Triple P contingency here. Almost as we got, is that 1, 2, oh, that's more than the AI race summary boys at the moment.
Yep, so AI race summaries not having the meritocracy apart from the amount of Porsches that bring to the grid, but underway with a very short formation lap here at Twin Ring Motegi for race 1 of round 10 of this championship. So the race car will lead Anders Liliorde and Richard Simnor through turns 12 and 13, with all the field trying to get into the Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. Pace car has peeled off, as now we're getting ready for green flag racing here in the land of the rising sun, as Anders Liliorde puts the pedal to the metal and everyone's starting to fan out a little bit. Lights will be out very shortly. We are counting down the timer. We're underway under green flag racing. Veeman looking very early up the inside through turns 1 and 2 on Richard Simnor, but Anders Liliorde nailed that start perfectly.
Yeah, he did. He got away. He did what he had to do as well. He had to escape, and he had to drop Simnor into Stein Veeman with Ewan Bremer there in the Porsche as well, with Kim Andre Bjorklund behind him. So he had to do that situation straight away to make sure he can escape. They've only got 15 minutes.
Dropped Piercy's off. Oh, dearie me, might have had a little bit of an assist, and there is a Mercedes crawling off on the right-hand side of the circuit. So you're going to see from this perspective, so Ewan Bremer ahead of Kim Andre Bjorklund. Piercy just loses it on his own, and Fonachari gets compromised, and then there's someone going off and tangles with the barriers. I'm not too sure who that was.
Stuart Gibbons.
The 47, so Gibbo dropping 4 positions on that one. But meantime, Ewan Bremer battling away with Stein Veeman and Kim Andre Bjorklund. This is the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th respectively, as we've got the run up to the right-hand hairpin, the 180-degree hairpin here at turn 10. Get a true big lick of speed on going down the hill into the 90 right at turn 11. Bremer looks to have a better run out of the hairpin in comparison with Veeman as they go over the crest, down the dip, to what's going to be a very, very hard braking zone. They're going to be pushing probably the best part of over 135 miles an hour into the braking point here at turn 11. Carry the momentum through. Don't let the car run off too wide. And you've got to line it up nicely. Drop down the gearbox into the first apex at 12. Now into 13. And then through into the right-hander. You'll be at 2nd or 3rd gear. Some people might opt to go for 3rd gear just to get the better traction pull out of the corner. Stops the car losing momentum, as that is... This Odomets in the barriers on the right-hand side might have just hit the loud pedal a little bit too early, and it spun him around, or maybe there was an assist.
Yeah, Torno Oromets there. We'll have a look back at that one very, very shortly as Liliorde still chasing, leading the pack there, coming into turn 3. The left-hander with Simnar right behind him at the moment here. Once again, we've got Williams and Owens there. Williams is side by side as he goes past Miles Owens and puts himself up 2 places. He's now into 10th, third in class at the moment for Mr. Williams, so he's doing a great job there as well. But it's all going to be about what Bremer could do, what Veeman could do, what Bjorkman could do, as we've got the battle of the Netherlands and the Norwegian.
Yes, indeed. Continental Europe versus Scandinavia. Ahoy right there. Anders Liliorde leading the way by 0.4 of a second ahead of Richard Simner as they're going through out of turn 7 into 8. Short shoot up to the left-hander here at 9 once again. This is the nighttime variance in comparison with the daytime running that these drivers have also had the benefit of having for the majority of the season. Braking points are going to be a little bit different, but oh, that's the problem there. Gordon Hauger's gone around at turn 9, and it's caused a little bit of chaos in the meantime.
Yeah, Gordon Hauger there has unfortunately gone around. Was this all on his own? It was. Then what he's... Hold your brakes. Then it goes back, that's fine. Torbjorn Melee looks like he got a little bit of a love tap from Stuart Gibbons while everybody was checking up there for Gordon Harrigan. And unfortunately, the Sim Racing Norway, Torbjorn Melee is down at the back of the field in 21st at the moment, with the likes of Gordon Harrigan behind him in front of him in 17th, as he's got Robert Stoughton and Engelstadt climbing their way through the field as well. So great little bit of action, and I swear these two are not going to leave each other alone throughout the whole of this first 15 minutes.
Speaking of leaving each other alone, that's not going to be the case between... that's going to be the same thing between Liliorde and Simnor. Simnor was very, very close very quickly through turn 2 on the back of Anders Liliorde in the number 96 as we make our way through into the double left complex here at 3 and 4. Apex by both drivers on through turn 3. Same again through 4. Just run it a little bit wide, use the outside curbing on the exit of the corner. Just put the hammer down, go up the gearbox. Again, here into turn 5, braking it just before, I think it was the 50 and the 100 metre marker board there by Richard Simnor. Under the first of 2 trips under the bridge, under the oval, which is actually no longer in use. It's actually in such a state of disrepair that the Ability Resort Motegi bosses opted not to bring that back. It's sort of like a bit of a tribute to past hurrahs around this Japanese circuit, but again, Liliorde just seems to have the measure on Simnor at the moment. We've got 9 minutes and 50 seconds still to go as the leaders come out of turn 9, then up through into turn 10, and again, it's just like Liliorde just doing a Simnor on Simnor at the moment in this opening race.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's putting it in. He's putting himself in a great position now. He's just got to hold it. This would be where he's got to hold it going down that run from turn 10 down into 11. Is he going to be able to hold it now? Is Simnor looking at even making a move? Simnor's body language in the car, he just doesn't look aggressive. So he's not looking like he's even remotely trying to make a move there. And he might just be sitting there waiting for the last couple of minutes to see if he can get through as well. Mikey Pollard, Ewan Bremer and Kim-Andre Bjortland. Bjortland just about to go up the inside of Bremer on the run round 14 and onto the start finish straight. He's done an absolute stellar job there as he has got through once more.
Yeah, so Kim-Andre Bjorkland now ahead of Ewan Bremer up to 4th position goes the Norwegian, but that's a move from Mikey Pollard looking up the inside through turn 1. Brewer gives him enough room, and that's Pollard possibly through, but that might not be the case if Pollard has if Bremer has the inside line for the next left-hander at turn 3, which he looks to have that in the bag. Pollard still going high, wide and handsome around the outside. Bremer manages to get a car length ahead, gets back through to claim his stake on 4th position ahead of Mikey Pollard, but Pollard was very close to getting one over on the Dutchman.
Yeah, nearly. Almost tried it there as well. He didn't quite manage to get through as they're going under the bridge there, and off they go, as you say, under the ovals. In disrepair in real life, well, it was fun when I was driving it the other day in sim, so it's still there. But it is a very tough circuit to drive, but a good go there as well. Rachel Hoff, Gordon Hauger, Stuart Rice, Robert Stone, Tristel Engelstadt, Torno Orment, Torbjörn Mele here, all battling it out as Rachel Hoff has just got lost the inside. Gordon Hauger who's going to be able to get through in front of her there as well. So Rachel Hoff unfortunately going down a position as we go into the last 7 minutes.
Well, what that also means is that Gordon Hauger, despite the dramas that he's had, is now currently on course, if it was to finish right now, as the driver that would end up pole position for the 1 hour feature night race coming up after this one. So he's in the position he needs to be in, but sometimes being on pole position at any circuit, you both know this, James, is not always the best place to be, especially when you've got a long run down to turn 1. It's coming out of turn 14. It is a very lengthy straight, but then the backstretch down between turns 10 and 11, especially with the downhill curve, you've got to really watch what you've got to do, as Stoughton sends it up the inside through on Rachel Hoff, runs a little bit deep, closes the door on Rachel Hoff, as Anders Lilliorde just sets a new fastest lap of the race whilst battling away with Richard Simnor, Alex. 1 minute 58.387 for Lilliorde, 1:58.533 for Simnor. Veenman running on the high 1 minute 58.3s. Arnold Oromets is also going to get through, possibly on Stuart Rice. That's the battle for 19th position after Oromets' trip through onto the barriers, actually coming out of this corner, out of turn number 2 in the exit. Well, it was a little bit further down the lap. Oromets ended up finding the barriers, as both Stoughton and Hauger very much closing in on the cones, which haven't budged. It's like unstoppable force versus immovable object, and the cones won't move for nobody.
No, and they're still going at it. Lilliorde has lost that place to Richard Simnor. They were battling backwards and forwards. It changed position 3 times, mind you, over this little complex. Simnor went up first, and then Lilliorde come back at him, and then Simnor managed to hold on to it there as well, going up the inside of Anders Lilliorde. Probably one of the few mistakes Lilliorde has done from here this evening, leaving that door open a little bit. But I know he's not going to give up, and he's got 5.5 minutes, and he's on his way down from turn 10, down into 11 again. Again, 3 Porsches battling out for the podium. 1, 2, 3, and then we've got 3 more for 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, so still plenty of action left to go here in the first of 2 races here tonight in Twin Ring Motegi. Very much to everyone watching on the JP Broadcasting Network. If you haven't already, like, share and subscribe whilst you're at it, and hit that notification bell so you can be informed when our next broadcasts are going live. We'll take you through the schedule for the rest of the week. This year being a leap year, tomorrow is apparently February the 29th. You, my friends, who were actually born on said leap year day, have already they've celebrated. What they're celebrating tonight, they're celebrating tomorrow, celebrating on the 1st. Well, that's a good way to say I'm going to take 3 days off of work this week, just because.
It's my birthday on the 29th of February. And I'm going to, and that's it. That must be hard for them, to be fair, as well, though, because you only get a birthday once every 4 years. I suppose, though, in hindsight, it does make you younger than everybody else around you.
Yeah, definitely. One of my friends, she always goes, "Yeah, I'm 12 this year."
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Thanks. You know, it's
you can see her going into the high school. What?
Yeah.
I'm here to enroll. I'm sorry, but you're a great. No, I was born on the 29th. Technically, I'm only 12 years old.
Yeah, I'm here for the next school year. But with 4 minutes to go, still the battle is very much on between Simnor and Lilliorde. Gap between them 3.5 tenths of a second. Veenman just doing what he needs to do, just keep the points in the bag. He's probably feeling quite comfortable now that we're into the penultimate round of the season. But as I alluded to earlier on in the broadcast, folks, there is a distinct possibility with a big update on week 13 by iRacing themselves. It could mean that our planned rescheduled finale of the Red Bull Ring next week may not go ahead, so we will keep you informed, Julia, of course, if that does or does not transpire. To turn 11 they go once again. 3 Porsches line astern. Bjorklund, in the meantime, looking at his lap times, he's actually running slower than the race leader, but has set a personal best last time around, 158.726. He's had a good little scrap with Ewan Bremer, but in the meantime, Simnor looking to make it back-to-back victories. Won the feature at Mugello last week and is looking to pick up the sprint win here tonight as we go on to what is our penultimate lap of this first race, this 15-minute sprint. So we're on to lap 7 out of 8, and next time we'll see Barney, the flag marshal, effervescently waving that white flag.
Effervescently, the strongest arm in iRacing, who appears on every single race. He's Harry Potter, is that man. He could be in multiple places at the same time as he does a stellar job as we're on that run. Out of 4 now, down into 5. Simnor battling away there as well. I want to pick up on Piercy and Richard White with Gibbons up the road. Hager down below that as well. Williams is doing a great job at the moment. 9th overall, up 3 places. He did say that he did like his chances of getting up the grid a little bit, so fair play to you, Mr. Williams. He's done some testing for this week as well, because people were saying how Motegi doesn't have lights all the way round, like we've pointed out when we were talking off the broadcast. But he went out and he did sort of come back and said, mate, it'll be all right. I said, okay, bud, no dramas. So there we go. That was the end of it for me, when Williams came out and just went, yeah, it'll be all right, mate. Everybody be fine. So there we go. But he's battling away nicely as well. And the guys up front now, this is turning into a 2-4-6 fight. 6-car fight, as we're going to be on that last lap soon.
Yeah, as our top 6, led by Simnor, rounded out by Pollard, make their way down from turn 10 all the way down to 11, so over the crest, down the dip, and it is next to nothing. 8/10 cover the top 3. Pollard closing in on Bremer for that 5th position. Fastest lap of the race so far, Kim-Andre Bjorklund, 158.305, as Simnor will lead the field onto the final lap with probably around about 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go on the timer. As he crosses the line now. There we go, 65 seconds left on the timer. Final lap underway of the race, and Simnor leading. Bjorklund again. Oh, who was that? Mikey Pierce.
Mikey Pierce facing the wrong way just as we clicked on him there. That is Richard White in front of him. He didn't send it from there, surely. No, but he did go in quite hot, and now, I think that could be a combination of him trying to avoid Richard White and trying to slow the car down at the same time, because he was side by side as well with, I believe it was Stuart Gibbons. So he comes in. Was there actual contact?
Oh, there was.
Oh, if there was.
There was the slightest of touches.
Slight, wasn't it?
Slight.
Yeah.
Slight by Gibbo there.
But that's always going to be a hard one when he's coming in. He did look like he was coming in a little bit toasty. So, you know, for Gibbo, I suppose, on that side of things, he didn't really have a lot of places to go. But at the moment, it's Simnor, Liliode and Veman with Bjorklund behind that as well. That is this. If this stays like this, Alex, this is going to be an epic race too, with all of these guys trying to come through the field.
Oh my goodness me, and that'll be easier said than done as the timer strikes 0 up to turn 10. What will be 8th and final time. Simnor still having taken the lead a few laps ago ahead of Anders Liliorde, leads the field out of turn 10. Now it's going to be the slipstream fest all the way over the crest underneath the twin ring Motegi banner there into turn 11. Liliorde, I think, will go, well, you know what, second's a good run. Bjorklund closing in on Veman. Could he get the run coming out of the final corner at turn number 14? Simnor will punch it, put the pedal to the metal, and will take 2 back-to-back victories. A feature last week at Mugello, and now the sprint race here at Motegi. Richard Simnor in the 21 takes the win by over 0.4 of a second ahead of ahead of Liliorde. Veman 3rd, Bjorklund 4th, Pollard and Bremer running out the top 5. It's another AM-class win. How's about that? Nicola Fornaciari doing an epic job, finishing 7th overall. With that, Rob Williams, welcome back to the podium in 8th place in the number 93. Miles Owens will take 9th, Deck Crowther 10th. Gordon Hauger, despite that spill on his own, still managed to gather it back up and finish 11th and 3rd in AM. Richard White and Stuart Gibbons ran at the top 5 in the AM classification. So you've got the likes of Rob Stoughton, Chris Evans, et al. But, well, that just goes to show, folks, we've now got a 5-minute warm-up. But here are your results. So we've got Simnor, Lily Auday, and Veenman rounding out the top 3 in the pros. Fornaciari in 8th. They had Williams in... Fornaciari in 7th, Williams in 8th. So Hauger takes P3 and on to reverse top 15 pole position. Triple P Racing One's number 12, Chris Evans took 15th behind Robert Stoughton. Tristan Engelstadt 1 step away from getting onto that reverse grid, the top 15 pole position. Ahead of Tano Oromets, who had a bit of a moment. So did Mikey Pierce, Rachel Hoff, Stuart Rice and Torbjorn Mele round out the 20 finishing orders on that. So there we go. Oh, James, should we talk to our folks watching at home the GT4 Global Challenge looks like when it comes to the calendar, dear sir?
We can. It is up on your screen.
Oh, we will have the official media day at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. That will be the media day, okay? And that will be without the Rettifilio chicane. Then round 1 heads to the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit on the 27th of March. Zolder will host round 2 on the 3rd of April. Portimao in Algarve will host round 3 on the 10th of April. Spa-Francorchamps will be round 4, 17th of April. Road Atlanta, it's the halfway point of the season on the 24th of April. 1st of May, we'll head to Hockenheim in Germany before good old Brands Hatch GP for round 7 on the 8th of May. 15th of May, it's Road America. Alton Park will host the penultimate round of the season, but will without the Britain's chicane. And then Silverstone Grand Prix curtails the season, round 10, 29th of May. As they say, it ain't broke, don't fix it. Format remains the same. Qualifying, 15-minute sprint race, 45-minute feature race with the mandatory pit stop, top 15 reversed.
Nothing is changing. Apart from, if we get it, and if we get it in time in the GT4s, it might be rain.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just needed to get rid of my hoodie. It's getting a bit warm down here in the office, but there we go. But you know what? That was a fairly clean race. There were a couple of, as you like to say, ta-ta-tas, but we all know, James, that when we come to a feature race, Cry Havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
Yeah, and they've got
have
an
a
hour.
reverse top 50. Yeah, and they've got an hour, so we could see 2 pits. We very likely going to 2 pit stops, but again, that strategy for tonight is a very different kettle of fish as well, because you've got to be on your A game, and Veenman has got to keep his nose clean. That is more crucial than anything else, because if this ends up being the final round of the season, folks, Veenman at this point, I think, might have done enough to secure the pro title.
Yeah. But I think overall as well, it's going to be accounted for that if after this one there is the next round, he's got to make sure that he can get the maximum here just to cement that place, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He's got to make sure he can cement the place, make sure he gets it done just in case, because you never know. We might get it and it might be out in time and it might all happen and you never know. But I don't know. I'm with you. We talked about this in the green room. We're not overly confident that we're going to get it done in time, partly because this one is going to be massive. And I will say on Wednesday, leave your computer on if you're at work, because you never know what time it's going to be on. And trust me, I've got a funny feeling this is going to be quite a large update. So make sure that you do get this downloaded on time on that Wednesday if you do take part as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's always the thing. I had that before, where events that have been taking place here on JP Broadcasting have actually been rescheduled, have not gone ahead because of a big iRacing update. But when you have all these new things and everyone's talking about rain, and James, we talked about this last time at Mugello, didn't we? You have open season when it comes to the weather conditions. What can be decided?
Apparently so.
Happy days. That's what I was
Apparently,
gonna
yeah,
say.
apparently so. So if you're racing in England, depending on what time or what month it is, you can guarantee there might be rain. That's all I'm going to say on that one. And if you're at Spa, well, you're probably going to need a canoe for one side and dry sand shoes for the other. Because as we know in Spa, Alex, it rains on one side of the circuit and not the other one. So it could be that as well.
Well, let's take you through the grid for the 1 hour night feature race here at Twin Ring Motegi for round 10. And it looks like this. Chris Evans and Rob Stotton will be on the front row. And it's 2 rows completely comprised of AMs with Stuart Gibbons and Richard White. Gordon Hauger has Dec Crowther alongside Miles Owens and Rob Williams. Row 4 with Nicola Fonacciari and Ewan Bremer rounding out the top 10. Mikey Pollard and Kim Andre Bjorklund will round out row 6 ahead of Stein Wieman, Anders Liliode and race 1 winner Richard Simnor. Tristan Engelstadt, Taro Oromets, Mikey Pearce, Rachel Hoff, Stuart Rice and Torbjörn Mele round out the 21 strong grid, waiting for a couple of drivers to ready up. Of course, I was hoping the BMWs might have been a little bit stronger around here, but Engelstadt and Oromets have got a huge mountain to climb in this race. So 1 hour, not 45 minutes, folks, 1 hour. And there is, as James said, very much a likely possibility that we could see 2 pit stops. The Porsche pace car peels off. It's going to be down to Evans and White to try and nail the start as best they can. But, oh, hang on a second. Stotton, Gibbons and Engelstadt are in the pits. Oh, dear.
I can guarantee from Gibbons' point of view, it might have had something to do with the incident with Mikey Pearce on the last lap. Knowing Stuart, he would not have wanted to take the position in that way, so he will have done what he's done now, starting from the pits. And I think Stotton and Engelstadt are just starting from the pits and having their own little race. So, you know, cracking on as they are at the top of the standings anyway. So I think they're just there battling away. However, they need to be prepared because Rob Williams is not too far away. And Chris Evans has got this up and running here, Alex. And we are green, green, green already.
He's away like a stabbed rat, is Chris Evans at the moment, in the words of David Addison. But, like, literally just put the hammer down as soon as he came out of turn 14. Everyone else caught napping, including Richard White, who's lost the position to Gordon Hauger in the meantime. A little bit 2x2, hurrah, a little bit further back on the run out of turn 2 and into turn 3 for the first time. Ewan Bremer currently running 9th as Stein Wieman gets a little bit close to his rear bumper under braking through turn 3 and Bremer manages to pull away. There is Rob Williams in the 93 Mercedes, currently running at the top 12 ahead of Anders Liliode, with Tano Oromets, Mikey Pearce running at the top 15.
Oh, there was somebody going off there. I think there was.
Oh,
I did see him. Yeah.
That was Rob Williams. So let's see what just happened.
Oh, I think
He's just outbraked himself. Yeah, he outbraked himself there. He didn't brake until it was too late and then lost all those positions as a direct result. So on board, that was close. He nearly went into the back of, I think, was that Piercy he had in front of him?
Oh, Evans.
Oh, dearie me. The man who stormed away at the front end of the field. Now, this is going to be, he's going to lose it all his own. Oh! Just into the back of Gordon Hauger and spears nose end first into the barriers. In the meantime, Mikey Pollard has got past Nicola Fonacciari, who is the third place down in the field. So Hauger leads from White, Crowther, Owens, Pollard, Fonacciari. Bjorklund, Bremer, Wieman, Simnor round out the top 10 as Bjorklund looking up the inside into turn 11 on Fonacciari. He might have just made the move, which he has. So as they come through into the final couple of corners here at Twin Ring Motegi, Hauger leads the way by just over 9/10 of a second, and Chris Evans, no surprise, after that front end impact, after losing the car by himself, is in the pit lane, so having to repair that damage. This might be an opportunity for Chris Evans to actually brim the tank. and maybe get a bit of a longer run in comparison with everybody else.
Maybe as well. The worst thing I want to point out for Chris Evans, he said, just to pre-warn you, I'll probably crash on lap 1, so be patient. And he wrote that 5 minutes before he started race number 2. And unfortunately crashed on lap 1. So I did just find out, buddy. Sorry about the menu coming up a minute ago there, guys. I didn't realise the voice chat was on in my ear until somebody actually spoke. And apart from I thought I was a schizophrenic there, because all of a sudden hearing voices, it was that. So I had to take that off as well. But Gordon Hager, Richard White, Deck Crowther, Mikey Pollard and Miles Owens. 57 minutes on the clock.
Oh, Owens just quickly shuts the door in front of Bjorklund, going through into out of turn 6 and into turn 7. And there is White. There's Pollard going around the outside of White. Owens is also going to have an opportunity to go through at the inside of turn 9. Aston Martin brakes late enough, which it does. White runs a little bit wide coming out of the corner, but keeps himself on the inside line for turn 10. Kim-Andre Bjorklund was pointing his Porsche right between the middle of those two cars into turn 10, but has the opportunity of possibly rubbing some paint with Miles Owens. Coming out of turn 10, we run on board with the number 74 from Sim Race Sweden Esports. Down over the crest. Bjorklund is literally to the right-hand side of Owens and will get the inside line under braking if he's brave enough. And the Norwegian does not need a second invitation on that one. Tries to get through, but he actually nearly misses the back bumper of Miles Owens. Loses a little bit of time coming out of turn number 12 as Ewan Bremer is being forced out wide by Richard Simnor going through the 14th and final corner. As Owens and Bjorklund trying to get through on White on the run down the start, finish straight into T1. Owens is going to go for the move into T1. That's going to open the door there for Bjorklund. White says, right, I'm going to keep out of the way, boys. You two are pros. I'll leave you to have your own ding-dong.
Yeah, he did there as well. He made sure he moved out of the way, coming through turn 1 and 2. Didn't want to get any part of it there as well. Mikey Pollard, Crowther and William and Owens there with Simnor battling his way through as he's passing past Richard White as well. So will Ewan Bremer, so will Stein Veman. He doesn't have to let Nicola Forliciari through. So it'd be good if we could see Richard White having a bit of a ding-dong with Forliciari here. As you can see in front at the moment, Veman trying to get through. Not quite sure why all of a sudden we've got a different White to what we had 2 quarters ago. It seemed a bit strange that he would make way for others and then battle like his life depended on it on the next ones, or am I just seeing that in a different light?
Well, Forniciari's just got past him, and that's for second in AM. So Gordon Hauger at the moment has a 1.9 second lead over Mikey Pollard. Deck Crowther up 3 places. Oh! White goes around and everyone has to go exit stage right to avoid him. That was very, very lucky for Richard White. So let's just see, having a look on the onboard. Anders Liliore is closing in on him. But White actually does this unassisted. He actually taps the rear and then he gets the secondary. He taps the rear of Forniciari. And Anders Liliore, quite frankly, had nowhere to go. It was not his fault. White went around after the tap with Forniciari. The back end rotated, and Anders Liliore helped helped Richard White to do a bit of a 360. So he was pointing in the right direction, having initially pointed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, there was nowhere he could go. It looks like White went straight in, too quick into the back of Forniciari, and then Forniciari had nowhere to go there, and then everybody else behind him. When you're racing so close, it was always going to happen all day. So you've got to be aware that you are being a little bit more careful about how you're going on when you're in these longer races. You know, they've still got 53 minutes on the clock. It's not over. Nothing's over. Hauger out in front by 2.5, but we saw this last time out as well. I think it might have been actually at Mugello where he went into the pits in first and come out in 6th. Plus they're going to have 2 to make, which we're pretty sure they're going to have to make 2 stops here as well. There's no way they're going to get to the end on the 1. So I think at the end of the day, there's still all to play for. Keep it on track. Take up your laps. Stay where you are. You don't need to make silly moves this early on as these guys are coming up around turn 6.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that sometimes you can make a mistake, like say within the first 5 minutes, and you've got an opportunity to come back. But in this kind of competitive field, it is easier said than done, as Kim Andre Bjorklund trying to get through at turn 9 on Deck Crowther, and is trying to go towards the outside to get the run through the outside of the hairpin. That's not going to be easy. That could open the door for someone behind, as Simnor round the outside of Owens through at turn number 10, and has managed to get through and is 3/10 ahead. Veman now will probably look to the inside of the number 74 Aston Martin. Bjorklund looking for the move up the inside of Crowther. He looks like he's going to get it. That's going to open the door for a possible opportunity for Richard Simnor, who pulls with Crowther through turn number 11, and he still keeps it pinned around the outside. That's traditional textbook Richard Simnor. Go deep into the first part of the corner that you need to go for, and then keep it around the outside at turn 12. That's exactly what Simnor is good at.
Yeah,
really reading the situation correctly.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's an expert at it, and he did really well there, did Richard Simnor. So a great job from him there as well. Took the advantage of the situation he was given, and that's what at the end of the day makes him such a good racing driver. Now we're on to coming down into the left-hander of 3 there, as well as Ewan Bramer and Miles Owens are literally nose to tail coming here as well, with Owens up at the back there, or Bramer at the back of Veman up the back of Crowther. So Deck Crowther there doing an absolute stellar job once again. Bjorklund and Simnor have just swapped positions there. Simnor went in and just got the job done over Kim Andre Bjorklund. So Richard Simnor at the moment up 12 places, absolutely flying.
Yeah, well, that's Richard down to a T. You can put him on the front row of the grid, you can put him on the first top 15 at the bottom end of it, and he will still find a way to get past everyone in front of him at his best possible opportunities. Now, we're only 6 of the way through this race. We're coming up to 10 minutes completed, 50 to go. Gordon Hauger at the moment has a lead of nearly 2.3, just over 2 seconds, let's call it, to keep on swinging like a pendulum on the timings, on the timing tower, folks. But about 2.3 seconds between Hauger and Pollard. Simnor is 2 seconds away, but is one of the fastest drivers out there at the moment. They are running at the minute. Hauger's just on a 58.9, Pollard a 59.0. Simnor, because he was battling his way through past traffic in front of him, as Deck Crowther's just lost out to Stein Veman, going through into turn number 11. A bit more of a cleaner move there from Veman in comparison to what Simnor did, and nearly gave Deck Crowther a bit of a fright to Code Brown at the same time. You've got the 2 Sim Race Sweden cars line astern. Bremer ahead of Owens now. Owens has dropped to 8th position, started 7th, but was a little bit further up. But then Bremer is going to go for the move now into turn 1 on Crowther. Crowther cuts the door off. Fornacciari looking to possibly get a move done on Owens through for P8. Fornacciari at the moment looking very, very good for a possible second podium in a row. He took the win in the sprint a few moments ago, as everyone just getting on with the business at hand. Things have sort of started to go into a bit of a rhythm now, haven't they, James, now that we've gone past the 10-minute mark?
Yeah, they have. They're kind of settling in a little bit, haven't they? And that's the thing, you know, they want to make sure that they're going to get to the end. They've got 49 to go. It's all about wiggling about with what fuel you've got and how you're going to be saving it. Simnor, however, doesn't look like he's going out on any saving expedition whatsoever. It looks like he's just going full beans and hoping to see how far he can go. So I think at the end of the day, they're going to have to play it by ear and see how much they're going to be able to save, see how much they're going to be able to use, and see how much usage they're going to have before they go into this first stint, which should be probably within the next maybe 10-15 minutes here.
Yeah, I'll probably say maybe at the, as you say, the 20 to 25 minute marker time elapsed, as we now see Ewan Bremer up the inside through at turn 10 on Deck Crowther. Deck has been very, very careful. Oh, he got a little bit of a tank slapper there. The back end stepped out on the back on the left-hand side on Deck Crowther's car after Ewan Bremer got through on him. Then Crowther's got Owens and Fornacciari closing in as well. Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you meant when you said about Richard Simnor not being a saving expedition by any stretch of the imagination. His last lap was a 58.507, so Simnor was nearly 4.5 tenths quicker than Pollard up the road from him. Gordon Hauger, a 58.869, 58.583 for Simnor. 58.778 for Pollard, 58.869 for Hauger. So Deck Crowther just trying to keep at, he's just trying to run his own race. He's not, you know, if he knew that he was going to be in competition with people directly, then he would be battling away a little bit more furiously, I think. But you know what? He's just running his own race. It's an hour. He knows for a fact that if he keeps his nose clean, crosses the T's, dots the I's, stays out of harm's way, not have a problem in the pit stop where we've seen it before, where people have put on new tyres. Interestingly enough, Rob Stotton, who started on P2, first pit stop was a 52.1, as Fonacciari now gets through at turn 5 on Crowther for P8. Yeah, Gibbo was in the pit. Stuart Gibbons was in the pits for 57.90. Just these were the three that actually started from the pit lane. So they spent a minute in the pits. They're on the lead lap, and they have made some inroads at the minute. Engelstad actually doing the most out of all of them, because Stotton was due to start second. Gibbons was due to start third on the grid. And Engelstad, well, was due to start 16th. So they've made some good headway, whilst there's been a couple of drivers, including the top 15 reverse pole sitter, Chris Evans, who is still on the circuit. Everyone at the moment, folks, is on the lead lap, which is great to see.
Yeah, they're all still here as well, battling away quite nicely. Even Mr. Evans, who went and put himself into the barrier, of course. Rob Williams and Stuart Gibbons fighting out here as well, as they're in the triple blade gamma. They've got Richard White in the middle of them as they go down now into turn 11 here, the right-hander. Let's see if these guys are going to be able to recover. I think it's going to be very, very interesting once more. What's going to be able to happen is Williams going to bring out his manly lion streak and clear Richard White to keep with his teammate. Is Gibbo going to back White into Williams to allow him to go through? Well, that is two tactics that they can use. So let's see what happens here. Mikey Perez, Liliorde and Kramer battling away in the middle with Fonacciari and Owens there. Little bit of a gap opening up front as well. Helga's got 1.9 over Mikey Pollard at 1.4. Simnar just over a second back from that one, and Kim Andre Bjorklund 1.1 back. So we are now waiting for the pit stops here, guys, to see how they get on once more, Alex, and see what happens as they're coming into that cycle very, very shortly.
Flashing of the lights there by Liliorde and Piercy, as Stotton looking up the inside of Piercy. That's a brave move through at turn 5 as they go under the Bridgestone Bridge. And Stotton gets through up to P11. He is on course for a podium, let's not forget. And when you look at he wants to get as much distance as he can between himself and Tristan Engelstad, and obviously if he can get a little bit further up the order and close in, it's a bit of a there's not as much as a gap as I thought there would be between Stotton and Fonacciari. The gap between them is about 2.5 seconds, give or take. So this could be the opportunity for Rob Stotton to have a drama-free race. I say that with a pinch of salt, big time there, folks, because we've still got 44 minutes to go, waiting for the first round of potential two-stop strategies happening here at Motegi. But Rob Stotton has done pretty well. He's got himself now up into 11th. He's trying to pull a gap over Mikey. Now, we have seen that Rob Stotton has been at the sharp end of the field earlier on in the year, earlier on in the season. But Mikey Pierce is on him like a bad rash right now.
Yeah, he definitely is. Stotton's going to have to decide what he's going to do here. Either keep fighting Piercy or just let him go. Otherwise, he's going to be in deep, deep trouble, losing a little bit of time. They are starting to get a little bit more spread out. It looks like Stuart Gibbons has had his own little moment here as well, I believe. So Stu Gibbons going into, it looked possibly like the same corner he did the last one.
Oi!
In the first race, I believe, there as well. He's got plenty of time to turn around. He could have done a 5-point turn there by the time he's got the gap behind him. Unfortunately, though, that drops him out of the Williams and White battle. And now we've got Miles Owens sitting in 7th place. And he has got Fornaciari behind him with Crowther and Liliorde. So still battles materialising. 43 minutes. We're waiting for it all to go out under the pit stop. And then we're going to be able to find out from there what happens once more.
Yeah, I think for me this season, standout debutants are Fornaciari and also Gordon Hauger. You know, if anyone might remember Long Beach, despite him having been deemed to have jumped the start and took a post-Long Beach penalty into consideration, he has taken over a win, and of course he's said that he's going to be back for the GT4 Global Challenge, which starts on March 20th with the Monza Media Day. Ewan Bremer, new fastest lap of the race for the Flying Dutchman, in 6th at the moment, 1 minute 58.239. Fornaciari gets ever closer to Miles Owens as they now head into the double left-hander here at 12 and 13 before the fight at 14. On now lap 10 as Gordon Hauger has crossed the stripe with 42 minutes still to go. 18 minutes done this 1 hour night-time feature race here at Motegi as Stein Wiemann closes in on Kim Andre Bjorklund. That's the battle for 4th on the road. Wiemann was a little bit deeper on the brakes in comparison with the Norwegian. And yeah, the Wiemann last time around, get this, was over half a second quicker, nearly 6:10. So there's pace in the AI Race Summaries.com Jesse car, piloted by Wiemann, who's going to look for the move up the inside. They're going through into turn 5. Villeneuve makes the move stick before they even hit the apex.
Yeah, he got the job done there as well into turn 5 on that run out of 6th in the under the bridge. It was all done and dusted for Stein Wiemann once more as they're now snaking up through 6, 7 and 8 before they come to the right-hander. This is going to plunge them down into turn 9 here as they're going to be getting that action from 9 to 10 and then 10 to 11. So let's see once more what goes on and what actually happens within this race as we've got Wiemann, Bjorklund and Bremer going at it along with Miles Owens, Fornaciari. Liliorde is moving up through the field. He's more being like a, I don't know, like a stealth ninja than a hard charger. I think that's the thing at the moment for Liliorde. He's just doing what he needs to do, but he's doing it efficiently enough where he can start moving through. And unfortunately, after bigging up my mate, Mr. Rob Williams, I think he's done something rather dramatic here. Oh, he's got up the inside. You ain't stopping that, buddy. Oh.
No, that was not cricket, that one.
It's a hard one to look at, isn't it? Because
yeah,
there was a gap, and you could see what he was kind of trying to do, and there was overlap. So, I don't know.
It's a difficult one because that was Stuart Rice. He was on the side as well, wasn't he?
No, it was. I think it might have been. Yeah, Stuart Rice. Right, okay. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
Okay. First person has blinked. Rob Stotton. Rob Stotton is in the pit lane. So, and that was a little bit. Well, we said around about the 20-minute mark. So, and also Stuart Rice has got in the pits. This is getting a bit too close for comfort. Liliorde up the inside of Fornaciari, flashing the lights. Oh my goodness me!
He didn't need to.
No, that was completely unnecessary. If I'm honest with you, you know, Fornaciari will know exactly where Liliorde was. It was nearly 3 wide as well, because now Liliorde is closing in and looking to pounce on Miles Owens for what is effectively 7th position. In the meantime, well, Mikey Pollard has closed the gap to Gordon Hauger. We've got a bit of a race on our hands because look who's in the slight background. It's Richard Simnall.
Yeah, it is. But how much longer can these guys go, to be honest, with fuel? So that's going to be an interesting one to see how they work this one out here and whether or not they're going to be able to go at least 1 or maybe 2 more laps before they start coming in. And you can see behind that is Wiemann, Bjorklund and Bremer, and then you got Owens, Liliorde, Fornaciari, Pierce and Crowther. They're battling out as these guys are coming into turn 11 on that run through the left-hander of 12. We might start seeing people nip in here very, very shortly to the right-hand side. Are we going to see it this time around? No, it doesn't look like Pollard's gone in, nor Wiemann, nor Hauger. So maybe on the next one.
Yeah, so at the moment, Pollard goes on for another lap. So does Hauger. So does Simnall. So does Wiemann. Piercy now dives into pit lane. So Mikey Pierce goes in. Tristan Engelstadt has also opted to go into the pits. with just under 38 minutes to go on the timer. But Pollard, Hauger and Simnor still the top three, covered by 8.5 tenths of a second. Simnor has been very much the quickest of the trio. Last time around, well, Pollard did a 1:59.1. Hauger, well, his pace has dropped off the cliff like the proverbial lemming. And he did a 2:01. Simnor is looking for the move up the inside through turn 5. Hauger goes tight to the apex. Underneath the Bridgestone Bridge we go. Into 6. Yeah. Hauger is hemorrhaging time right about now. I think he might be thinking, well, hang on a second, who's the nearest am? Closest to me is Forniciari. It's all the way down in 9th place behind Liliorde, but you can see the amount of pace that Simnor still has. He's going to go for the move into turn 9.
Oh, that was an impatient one. He was on the lights a couple of corners back, flashing Hauger as well. They all know that the AMs can race. We've already said this as well. But I think that was just an impatient manoeuvre that Mr. Simnor probably wouldn't have made in any other circumstances. I think he made the move just purely because he was just gruffing and grunting at that point, and his little head, bless him, was getting a little bit red-faced at that moment as he was on the lights as well. So I think Simnor just made that move. He's got past now, though, but I think the last one was a little bit more frustrating than an actual clean overtake. So for him at the moment, it's been a tough one. He's just got to keep battling at the moment as well. Simnor's got to keep his head, and Hauger's in the pits.
So Hauger opts to pit at this point, just before the 25-minute mark, as Liliorde trying to get through on Owens. Right, that was Forniciari straight on. Hopefully, well, Rob Stoughton, hopefully you didn't have a problem with the pit lane when you went in, earliest of anybody, just before this, just after the 20-minute mark. So Hauger in the pits, Forniciari in the pits. So when will they come out in front of Rachel Hauger is the big question. Rachel Hoff, sorry. So Hauger is in the pits and has been in there. Oh, Richard White's had a slight off track. Gordon Hauger in the pit box for 24 seconds. And is now making his way through. That now promotes Rachel Hoff to the AM class lead, who's being closed in on by Richard White. Torbjorn Mele has made his way up from last to 12th as Anders Liliorde trying to force the issue here with Miles Owens. Again, just like we saw with Richard Simnor, a little bit of desperation creeping in. It really is. I mean, you've still got over 30, you've got 35 minutes still to go. You've got the possibility of doing at least 2 pit stops. I mean, as you said, the fuel mileage you have to save around this circuit is going to have to be absolutely crazy. You're going to be lifting and coasting like nobody's business to get that done.
Yeah, when we set this hour, we did fear whether or not they would be able to do it in one, and it was always going to be borderline, like a nose hair line, you know what I mean? It was always going to be borderline whether or not they could save or not. And there was just, in the end, I think they decided that it's probably easier just going full flat until what time they run out and then going in again. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to make this work. And the top 3 are in: Pollard, Simnor, Veman and Bramer. What about Bjorklund? He's still going round as well. He's not actually stopped. Miles Owens, is he going to be diving into the pits? He is. He's got Liliorde behind him. What about Crowber is in, Orametz is in, Hoff, White and Torbjorn Mele are on their run down from 10 to 11. So I don't necessarily think this is really going to affect him, but it's going to be what this man can do here until he goes into the pits. But I think if he's going to go in, it should be the next lap.
Yeah, I would have thought so as well, because we've come to close to 26.5 minutes out of 60 completed. Kim Andre Bjorklund leading the way. Rachel Hoff has now pitted. So is Stu Gibbons. This is going to sort of change the order a little bit because Richard White and Torbjorn Mele yet to come in. So they've gone long as well. So that's a very interesting strategic call that these drivers might have done. That's Liliorde coming out of Forniciari, who's actually jumped Owens. So Owens, how long was he in? 25 seconds. So was Deck Crowther. So both of them for a little bit longer in the pit lane and in the pit box. Ewan Bremer was only in the pits for just under 20 seconds. Great work there by the teammate of Miles Owens, who was in the pit box for for over 5 seconds less. So Ewan Bremer might have pulled a little bit of a masterstroke here. Yeah, Bjorklund again.
This is not in. How much has he got?
That's the interesting thing, because he's on to lap 30. He's on to closing on to
32
lap
minutes.
14. I think he's going to have to pull into this. Is he going to pull in this lap?
Gotta be this lap.
No, he isn't. Oh my god! Now Kim-Andre Bjorklund.
He's either pulling a master stroke or he's forgotten to turn on his spotter or his fuel. One of them.
Yeah.
What's he doing into one?
Let's just see.
Ah, okay, we're lifting well early.
So he's been employing for the last lap or so the lift and coast strategy that I was talking about. So he's just trying to max out fuel mileage in the 50% limit that he's got in this tank. So he's going to be running on fumes when he comes into the pit lane. What that has given him, it's given him a little bit of a window of opportunity to keep himself in the hunt for the win. Richard White has now finally bolted into the pit lane. Torbjorn Melee, along with Kim-Andre Bjorklund. You know what? It's the two from Sim Race Norway that have decided to try and pull a bit of a masterstroke here, which is going to be very, very interesting. And Torbjorn Melee is running on a 204. What was that? A 204.9 for Torbjorn Melee. Kim-Andre Bjorklund, despite the lifting and coasting, his best effort at 158, a high 158.5, he's just done a low 59.7. So there's got to be a very minimalist approach to Kim-Andre Bjorklund's lift and coast strategy. He's been less than 60 seconds away from hitting half time, 30 minutes of this race. Now, in a 45-minute sprint that we've seen some drivers really, really rinse the fuel tank as much as they can, James. They're literally, cars just literally sniffing the vapor from the fuel tank into the fuel filter. And this just goes to show that if Kim-Andre Bjorklund, who has a 34-second advantage over Ewan Bremer, who pretty much jumped everyone that was slower than him in the pit box, to come out in front. And there we go, on what will be the conclusion of lap 15, Kim-Andre Bjorklund in the pits. Now, my interesting fact will be, I'm wondering if he's going to brim that tank, because now we're going to see Bremer cross the line. He's going to take the race lead. Well, very soon. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
He can't make it on one, Alex. He must have been saving like an absolute banshee for all that. It can't have been one lap. It can't have been 2 laps. That must have been to go a lot longer than anybody else. He must have been doing it for a good while. And it would have been a while as well. Not just there. He's out 24 seconds is Bjorklund. And he isn't coming out too far behind where he needs to be here, because that's Stein Beeman. There's Gordon Hauger. So Hauger, his teammate's going to come out. They're going to be together, the Sim Race Norway boys. And now they can push on. I tell you what, if he pulls this off, this is the master stroke. Because I got a funny feeling with the amount of fuel that he's just put in, and the amount of laps, he was give it 3 laps more. He might be able to do this. Yeah. Props to him if he does, but I think he might be able to get 1 in here.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally, he was on half time. Like, literally, we just hit half an hour as he dove into the pit lane. So, from that perspective, got to factor in, like, say, you know, he was in there for 24 point. He was for exactly to the decimal point the same amount of time. He's 25 seconds in the pit box, like Mikey Pollard was. So they've gone for well, the thing is Pollard and is everyone else around him, apart from maybe say Kim-Andre Bjorklund, having to possibly do a little bit of a splash and dash? You just never know what the strategies are. Now, if you get clumps of drivers, such as teammates, whether they be, if it's AI race summaries, whether it's Jesse or Tracy, it doesn't matter. They're all one unit. They all work together. They all know how each other drives. and it might be a bit like when you got the indoor cycling where they have the peloton, where you get like they do the relay, and you got one bike that's out front, and then every couple of laps, the one at the front will go to the back. So there'll be chatter between these drivers as saying, okay, right, watch your braking on turn for 14. I'm literally right behind you. Or say, okay, well, if Simnel's behind Pollard will say, well, where's Veidman? Well, he's about 6 car lengths behind me. So there'll be an understanding between these drivers. And, I mean, Kimon J. Bjorklund's last lap, a 2-minute 2.932. If he can be running on pace with the 3 in front, so running probably a mid to a high 158.7, then that could be the lap time that Bjorklund will need to aim for. Maybe slightly quicker, might even be a 58.5, because the fastest lap of the race so far is done by the person who is leading, Ewan Bremer, 158.239. He's 2.7 seconds up the road from Mikey Pollard with 26.5 minutes to go. And this is why I like the fact that we've had this 1 hour mini enduro feature race here at Motegi, because it really does, you know, the drivers, as I said, they've got to cross the T's, dot the I's. They've really got to eke out the fuel strategy, and that can be what the case is when you've got Simnel behind Pollard. So going through into turn 10. Now, at that point, Simnel, because it's his own teammate, didn't feel like it was a case of, right, let's go for it. He'll just go, I'll be happy just bump drafting Mikey Pollard in front of me just to do what I can to reduce the fuel mileage per lap. Sometimes you will do that for a certain amount of time before you get a little bit bored and you go, right, I want to go Billy Big Berries and go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, I would like to point out, though, the fact that you're probably thinking these guys are communicating. If I've known the AI race summaries and the DCW boys, they're probably not, to be fair. They're probably laughing at each other about some of the things that probably happen throughout the race and how they can avoid taking each other out. Yeah, if you said that to Richard, saying, well, you guys talking out in the car, I think he'll probably say you're probably giving us a bit too much credit, because over the years that I've known them, I've never heard them say that they were talking about race strategy in the car. They were just racing each other, going for it as best as they possibly can and trying to move on. As much as I would love to think that that is what they would be doing, I'd be very surprised if that is actually what's going on. And unfortunately, we haven't got a direct line into their Discord channel to find out what they are actually doing. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if they are. But they do work together at times, but it is very brief. As we know, there's no team orders, so they do just keep going at each other, and that's the thing as well. So, but they've got to make sure they're just not slowing each other up. And Bremer, I'd like to point out, has done a great job in the pits. 5 seconds less pit lane time, so we know he's going to have to go in the pits a little bit earlier than normal, as we've got Tristan Engelstadt and Miles Owens. They were side by side right at that moment under the Bridgestone Bridge there as well. So great action taking place. They've still got one more stop. We've got the top four only about 3 seconds apart, and then we've got Tristan Engelstadt and Miles Owens.
Yeah, I did have when I was chatting with our good friend Mr. Dan Pepples, I said, and I talked about Sim Race Sweden. I said, what has been one of the big things that you guys have had to work on? Pit stops. So straight away, by you and Bremer doing a pretty good strategic call, but like you say, he's more than likely going to have to come in for a second pit stop. But he saved, in comparison with Mikey Pollard, yeah, that was an easy five seconds that he managed to put into his pocket and get out ahead of Mikey Pollard, and leads by 4 seconds now. As well, there has been a little bit of a change between the three, because Beeman now in second, Pollard third, Simnor holding up the back of the train, as there was a moment there for Miles Owens, who's gone straight into the pits. Oh, so what is that for? Is that for a penalty, possibly?
No, I think he's going to stop. He's in that window. He pitted, I think it was lap 10. He was a little bit earlier than normal, but he's gone in there as well. Crowther's had to jump to the pits, and this is why with Deck Crowther, that's Toro Oromex, it just looks like he lost all ability to steer that car then. That was quite weird from Deck Crowther, unfortunately, but that is left Stuart Rice, Stuart Gibbons and Rachel Hoff. Now there's Rachel Hoff, there's Stu Rice and there's Stu Gibbons, and Rob Williams is not too far apart. So we've got a triple blade, nope, hold on, let me get that right. Triple B Racing, how am I going to put this? 1 and 3, and then a triple blade gamma 2 and 4. So this could be an interesting battle between the triple blade boys here. Let's hope Barnsley's not in chat, because he's probably going to still be pulling his hair out when he sees these guys going on there. Good evening, Patrick Faulkner. Sim not leading yet, no, but this is race 2, and it is the reverse grid. Sorry if you put that in earlier and I've completely missed it there once more. 22 seconds. 22 minutes. Yeah, I know. My cream run out. 22 minutes remaining, and now it's all about whether or not who's going to pit where.
Chris Evans has been in the pits for 26 seconds. Yeah, Miles Owens. Actually, a very short stop there. 9.9 seconds in the pits. So he's probably just brimmed the tank and gone, you know what? That's going to save me a little bit of time. That's going to help catapult him up the order a little bit, because we still have just under 22 minutes remaining. Of course, we had the first set of pit stops courtesy with Rob Stoughton, who was in just after the 20-minute mark. So we're at that point where some drivers that have decided, well, we'll go out for as long as the fuel will allow us to. But I would say that probably with anywhere between 20 to 10 minutes to go, that's when, and especially towards the latter number, James, is where I think that we might see the more of the hive of activity, and then it's going to be an interesting case as to see where this puts Kim-Andre Bjorklund, and does he have enough fuel to get to that, to do the Sergio Perez special, the master of the one-stopper back in his days at Racing Point. And if he does that, that will have been probably one of the biggest, most cojones-strung strategy that I think anyone will have decided to take a chance on in a race like this.
The thing is, if he makes it work, and there is the guys from AI Race Summary of Beeman and Simnor, I did kind of guarantee that they probably weren't working together, and that's kind of proving the factor there. If he does manage to make this work, Kim-Andre Bjorklund, I would be amazed, but I would also sit back and go fair play. But I'm also going to sit back and go because what have the Triple P team, sister team, collective team,
Oi!
Rachel Hoff and Stuart Gibbons, and that's allowed Stuart Rice and Rob Williams to go through there. Probably almost. Gibbo going to make, yeah, he just made it past his back end there as well. It's almost like a Red Bull hitting a RE or whatever they're called this season.
It's like a pebble hitting a pond and you get ripples.
Well, you could say that. Yeah, I was trying to think of an analogy.
Gibbo's gone to the pits. Gibbo's had a tow, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's had a lot of choice. I've got a funny feeling his steering might be a little bit dude on that
Mikey
one.
Pierce has just gone in the pits.
But he blinked first before, so he was one of the first ones last time.
So the big 64 million yen question that needs to be answered. It's always, whenever we go to a different track, I always happen to know the bloody currency for it, don't I? 64 million yen question, which probably works out to about £64,000, is how far this man, Kim-Andre Bjorklund, who 19 minutes to go, he pitted on lap 15. Piercy's now out of the pits and is down in 12th.
How long was that stop? 15 seconds.
Yeah. So maybe
everybody, they've all got to bid it. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here, which is not helping because I end up cutting over you, and I do apologise about that. Everybody on the grid has got to be sitting thinking about now, what is he up to? Nobody knows his fuel intake. We can't pull it in. It's not data that they give out because they fear of cheating, which seems a bit bizarre, but hey, we won't go into that one as well with other teams in endurance series and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, people have got to be thinking what Bjorklund's doing, because 30 minutes, he's gone 12, he's got Hauger behind him as well from his team. So if Gordon really wants to play the part, push him. push him down the straights, just let him clutch in, and then you just push him along, because that's also viable. You know what I mean? You can do that, and whether or not you do it at every straight, but everybody's got to be thinking about now, what is Bjorklund up to? And none of them really know. He's literally, I would say, 2.5 laps in front of these guys with fuel, the fact that he pitted later. So it's going to be an ask, but it might also be a very doable ask for this Kim-Andre Bjorklund in that Porsche.
Yeah, Stotton's in the pits, Engelstadt in the pits. Now the pit stop phases are starting. So, yeah. Yeah, I think, as you rightly said, everyone's going to be scratching their heads on the 3000 IQ strat that Kim-Andre Bjorklund is trying to employ. And it's one car just getting out of the way. I think that was one of the B cars, I think. Just moving out of the way. Some of the drivers, well, might have been possibly Evans, who is actually a lap down. So is Deck Rather, so is Stuart Gibbons. So Engelstadt 14.8 seconds in the pits. Rob Stotton 19 seconds in the pits. Yeah, this is. I'm looking at the lap times. Kim-Andre Bjorklund. Okay, let's put this into context, James, because we've got 16.5 minutes to go. Bremer, at the moment, running on 58.8s. Simnor, 58.5s. Veenman, 58.6. Pollard has just done a personal best, 58.4. Bjorklund, 59.6. So when you take it, let's use Bremer as a marker, shall we? That effectively, that Kim-Andre Bjorklund is running 0.8 slower than the leader. So that might be the fact of just keeping the laps consistent, not making mistakes, okay? Gordon Hauger is right up his rear wing at the moment. That's beside the point. If Bjorklund is running to a consistent time where it shows that he will have enough fuel through the delta that he's losing, he might be on a winning strategy. So 0.8 of a second in these GT4 cars can feel like an eternity, but look at Bjorklund. He's not going aggressive on powering out of the corners as Fonachari pits. So I'm going to have a look at Bjorklund's lap time this time round. Yeah, 59.6 again. So he's running at a consistent pace. And again, Bremer last time around was a 58.8. So I think it could be the fact that he thinks that if he can do this consistent lap pace at a 59.6, at 0.8 of a second of fuel that he's not using is probably quite a lot when you think about it. Still, might be using less of that lift and coast that we saw earlier on when he pitted on lap 15. But it might be, not to his detriment, but probably to his advantage, because we've got 15 minutes to go. He's still got possibly half of that fuel left to run, and he thinks that maybe, has he done the math right?
Well, let's hope he has there, and I think at the end of the day, yes, Craig Jones, I am here. Only just joined, no James Parfitt tonight there as well. I think you joined in the middle of Alex telling us about the fuel and stuff. So, yeah, I am here tonight, buddy. Don't you worry about that as well. But Stein Veeman and Richard Simler going at it. I think he probably has, right? I think he's gone out and figured out what he's got to do, and that's the question. He's gone out and he's done what he needs to do. He's worked it all out. He dragged it out through the first stage, and he's dragging it out at the second stage. So whenever you see Bremer, Simnor, Veeman and Pollard, count 2.5 laps and see where we're at with time. And that will give us a rough idea of knowing where he is and whether or not he's going to be able to make it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Evening, Craig. Have you with us, mate? Thought I'd say hi. Now that James has said his 2 cents towards you. But yeah, I mean, I mean, looking at it from this perspective, Kim-Andre Bjorklund is about 13.5 seconds behind. But I mean, I'm looking at Lily Yode's times. I mean, Lily Yode's like half a second quicker. But is that half a second of increased pace? He's just done a 58.7. Bjorklund did a high 59.5. So 59.580. Liode 58.795, 1/10.5 slower than the leader. So yeah, as you said, it's when we see Bremer, Simnor, Veenman, Pollard Hauger, Liliode et al. Decide to jump into the pit lane, because I think this would be one of the biggest talking points of the season. And Craig saying, "Hey, I thought you were on your own." Well, yeah.
I don't know if he's implying you're talking too much, Alex. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Craig, shut your yap. But yeah, but like you said, coming back to the point you alluded to, which I actually, see very, very logically, is the fact that if these guys are going flat out, Bjorklund's saving. How much is he going to save, and when are they going to pit? And does that mean that Bjorklund might have to do a splash and dash? Now, what's the total time on a pit stop that we've seen from, let's say, for instance, Bremer? What was his last total pit stop time?
19.8, but he pitted early. He pitted on lap 13. He's taken 5 seconds less of fuel. If he's going to go 13, he'll go to 26, which will be in a couple of laps' time, and then he will have to come in again. As I say, it's going to be, if these guys come in, what Bjorklund can't do is he's got to be able to get to about 6 minutes. Yeah, Bremer's in now, so that's 11. Take these two, you're going to have 5 seconds, which is going to be at least another lap and a half, if not 2 laps before these 3 go in. So that's going to take us down 2:46. That could take us down to about 5 minutes remaining, give or take. Counting as 2-minute lap times here. I'm not going to do the 1:58 maths. That's too complicated for me. But I think if they go in with about 5 to 6 minutes remaining, that would be about the 2.5 laps that Bjorklund went in later than what they did on the first one. So that should, technically, allow Bjorklund to get through. So he's already in front of Bremer. Bremer come out all the way down in 7th. Liliode's in front with Gordon Haig, and then Bjorklund. Now, you don't realise the biggest effect that Haig and Liliode can play here, trying to get Bjorklund to the end. What they don't want to do is kind of race him. To help him. They're all from Norway. They all train together. I know these guys outside of this series. They all train together. They all work together. The Team Viking boys and the Sim Racing Norway. So they would have known something, and they're probably all talking in the Discord that this is where he's at. To make it last, give him a push. Let him clutch that Porsche in and let him give it a push, because he is, I've got a funny feeling here with his last pit stop as well, Alex, going out 24 seconds. He is teetering on the edge, like literally walking the fine line of superstar, what is it, hero to zero, and he's in the middle at the moment because he's teetering on the edge there, and it's going to be very, very close, buddy, very, very close.
Right, heading into the final 10 minutes of this 1-hour night race feature at Twin Ring Motegi for round 10 for the JPB GT4 season. And what an interesting discussion and debate that myself and Mr. James Parfitt have been having for the past few minutes. But of course, those that have been watching along, obviously you might have your own thoughts on what the Norwegian Maestro is going to do. There's Hauger and there's Liliode in the pits with 9.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, they freed him off.
So, yeah, they're leaving him alone. They're letting him be. He's just on a 50. He's coming across the line now. He did a mid 59.3 last time. He's just gone back to a 59 mid 59.5. That brings you and Bremer about 12.3 seconds behind Bjorklund. Liliode now out of the pits, 8 seconds dead. Hauger's been in there for 14 on the pit on the pit box and is now making his way out. Hauger still leading the way in the AM classification, makes his way out as Mikey Pierce is going to be very close to him with 8 minutes and 50 to go. So yeah, Simner and Veeman are within 3/10 of each other. So of course these, well, it's going to be these three, Simnor, Veeman and Pollard, give myself and James an indicator as to when they will pit. So we've got 8.5 minutes to go, and they are making their way through turn 9. They might decide, they may go for another lap, bearing in mind that all three of them spent nearly 25 seconds in their respective pit boxes. They're coming out of turn 10 now. And Simnor in the wheel tracks, but has got Veeman in the wheel tracks at the moment with 8 minutes. Yeah, if they go around for another lap, that's going to put us to 6 minutes on the timer. If they go out, keep out for another lap. So Simnor, what's he going to do? Is he going to dive into pit lane? The answer is yes. So is Veman. So is Pollard. Now this is going to be the true test because Kim-Andre Bjorklund is now coming through in towards turn 12 and 13. He will stay out.
Yeah, we knew he was going to, so he's got 2.5 laps. 2, 4, 6. Oh, he might have to just... He's got to save just a little bit. I think that's going to be the thing. He knows he's committed to whatever strategy we think he's in, what he thinks he's on, but we don't know what he's on. So whatever he's got to do, he's got to commit full bore now. He's got to go full bore for it and just say, right, I'm going 1. Because it's going to be too late to mess around. And if he does that, he's going to lose bucket load of positions. Veman come out in front of Bramer only just, mind you. Bramer come out, Simnor come out behind Bramer, so Bramer is still in the fight, and they've got a back marker there of Rachel Hoff right in front of him at the moment as well, who I would have thought would just chip. There you go, well done. On that one, but that does allow Bramer to take a dive and take a run at Veman as they're going around turn 5. So yeah, they come out just in close. Veman just got him there as well, but Stein Veman's pit stop time is either incredibly wrong or he's made an incredible mistake, because everybody else is around about 11.5 to 10 seconds. His was 8.38. So very interesting one.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got to say the same for Tano Oromets, who also pitted at the same time, was in the pit box for 8.83 seconds, and then Anders Lidiorde, shortest pit stop of the night, 8 seconds, dead on the nose. But I think with 6 minutes to go, now our race leader is making his way down into turn number 11. He's got a gap of 11.4. So you look at it from this way, this is a bit too close for Veman and Bremer going down into turn number 11. It's the fight of the Flying Dutchman going into this turn 11. So Kim-Andre Bjorklund's out of the final corner with 5.5 minutes to go. Bremer runs wide. Oh, dearie, dearie me. He's put himself between a rock and a hard place. And here comes Richard Simnor trying to get through on Veman. There's no team orders, as James rightly said. And that's a 59.4. So we're now on to lap 28. So there's going to be this plus 2 more. Bjorklund might have pulled off the master stroke of the season as Simnor banzais up the inside. Comes together. Veman's off. Veman's off at turn 4. Heavens to Betsy, boys, stop swapping paint like that, please.
And you still think they're talking strategic strategies? Are they not? Now they're probably having a good old chuckle to themselves in the AI Race Summaries combox there. The fact that they've just had a big old ding-dong coming together. But all the while they're doing that, that's releasing Ewan Bramer, and that's giving Bjorklund enough time to settle. He can just, at any downhill section or any shift section, he can just clutch it in or lift it up and let it roll. He hasn't got to worry why they're doing that. He's coming down. It's a second at the moment. He's down to 10 seconds, 10.8, 10.7. So he's definitely doing it. And it looks like his ambition is to go another 4 minutes. What he really needs to do is, in a weird stage, he needs to kind of make this lap last as long as possible. So he's got a less chance of hitting an extra lap when he gets to what would be the normal white flag lap. He needs to just drag this out. I don't think he's going to be able to drag it out another 50 odd seconds. I think there's going to be one more. But it'd be interesting to see what he is going to be doing here with Ewan Bramer. You can see Bramer's quicker by 8 tenths on 26, 3 tenths on 27. So that's 1.2 over 2 laps. And I'll keep an eye and see what he does here as well, because he is definitely losing time, but he's also definitely trying to get to the end here, and he's going to have 2 laps to do this, and this is going to be wow, just wow if he manages this.
Yeah, 1 minute 59.314 for Kim-Andre Bjorklund going on to lap 29.
7 tenths. Oh.
Yeah, the thing is, folks, that gap means that, as James alluded to, Andre Bjorklund can settle. He has got plenty of distance between himself and Ewan Bremer. Now, considering this, folks, Andre Bjorklund started 12th. Richard Simnor has done 2 pit stops and is nearly 12 seconds behind him in 3rd place. Has made up 12 positions. Started down in 15th, having won the sprint race earlier on. But Andre Bjorklund coming through into turn 8. As I said, sometimes it's not, you know, the car might not be looking like it's going fast, but Bjorklund is putting the car exactly where he needs to. As I said, he's not making any mistakes. He's not forcing anything. He's just running the race that he himself has planned. Stuart Gibbons is in the pits for his 5th pit stop of the night, but we are going to go on to very shortly our final lap.
He needs that final lap.
He does. He does. As James has just put, oh my God, go Andre Bjorklund masterstroke in the GT4 drivers chat. But this is, I think, the biggest story of the season. That who would have thought that someone of this caliber could do this? Because out of the final corner, 1 minute 30 seconds will remain as Andre Bjorklund crosses the line and goes on to the 30th and final lap, and he's pulled the pace up. He's pulled the pace up. I did say I think he was saving 0.8 of a second of a lap. He's just proved it. 158.366, and Bjorklund now can do something else. Pull away and pull a gap.
Oh, dearie me. Are we going to see it? The first one stopper. It's been done in the hour. He set that benchmark in that first sector. He must have been saving and saving and saving like a kid saving up their pennies for the penny sweet shop. I can tell you that much. And he has done a great job. If he gets this to the end, which he's looking like he will, because as you say, he upped his pace by nearly a second on that last lap. It's got to be one of the pure, utter genius strokes we've ever going to see here. And it has just been incredible from Andre Bjorklund. That was his fastest lap over race 2 as well, 158.366. And he is doing a stellar job here. And I don't think anybody's going to begrudge him this win. To pull this off, man,
yeah, so,
impressive.
Yeah, completely agree. So, Andre Bjorklund makes his way through turn number 10 for the 30th and final time as the timer now counts down. 3, 2, 1. This time, we're going to have the checkered as the number 88 of Andre Bjorklund from Sim Race Norway has pulled the biggest master stroke of this season under the floodlights here at Twin Ring Motegi. He pitted on lap 15. He saved 0.8 of a second per lap, and he's going to do the one-stop Sergio Perez special over the line. It's Andre Bjorklund who wins after a one-stopper, 30 laps, and he's going to win by a country mile.
Oh, 10 seconds. 10 seconds he just took that win by, did Andre. Absolutely stellar job. We've got Haig and Pierce fighting out as they're on the run through 12, 13 and 14. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was impressive. Haig's going to come over to win. It looks like he's had a great old battle with Piercy there as well. But the first man all season to get any of the races down into a one-stopper, and he has done a stellar job. So you can't, no, you just cannot begrudge him in any shape or form of this one. He has been amazing.
Oh, we are going to be debriefing with him quite a bit post-race. I mean, I was like looking at the lap times, and I said, like, he was being calm, concise. He wasn't making mistakes. He was saving. He was lifting and coasting like I don't know what. Gordon Helga takes a win in the AM class as well in 7th. I mean, again, just goes to show that you cannot write anything off in this JPB GT4 series.
Yeah.
Even if it might be the last round tonight.
Well,
We've still got a few more drivers across the line. We've got Richard White, Torbjorn Mele, Rob Williams, and Stuart Rice. But I mean, I cannot believe we have witnessed the 3000 IQ Strat in a GT4 1-hour mini enduro. Kim Andre Bjorklund, you can take a big old bow, because much respect for that one. Much respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stuart Rice comes trundling over there. Is he going to make it? Yeah, he just about makes it. So, yeah, absolutely stellar job. But there is the results on your screen. I will get the guys into the interview room, dear sir.
Indeed. So Kim Andre Bjorklund with a one-stop strategy that is the talking point of this season of the JPB GT4 Championship here at Twin Ring Motegi. Did it on lap 15 and made it work, and won by 10.5 seconds ahead of Ewan Bremer with AIRaceSummaries.com Tracy's Richard Simnor, making it rounding out the top three. Stein Veeman and Mikey Pollard ran out the top five ahead of Team Vikings Anders Lilliorde. Gordon Hauger takes another AM-class win in 7th, ahead of Mike Pearce and Miles Owens. Robert Stoughton and Nicola Fonacciari round out top 3 in AM, rounding out the top 11 overall. Tristan Engel starting 12th, ahead of Tano Odomets with Richard White, Torbjorn Mele, Rob Williams, Stuart Rice, Chris Evans, Rachel Hoff and Stuart Gibbons, the latter three ending up, Chris Evans and Rachel Hoff ending up a lap behind the leader. Stuart Gibbons retiring with 4 laps to go. Net Crowther out on lap number 16. But, well, you know what we're going to do? Myself and James, we are going to head over to the interview booth. So we'll be right back with you shortly. Well, okay. You know what, James? Let's bring in Mr. The Norwegian equivalent of Sergio Perez in a GT4 car. Let's bring in Kim Andre Bjorklund, because he needs to be talked to first, I think, on this one. What a drive from this guy.
Yeah, absolutely amazing there as well. And he did an absolutely stellar job to get it on a one-stopper, to get it to the end as well is just incredible. And, of course, the first man of the season to get it done, of course. So, yeah, in the hour long. So, well done, Kim. And he's in the booth for you, Alex.
Kim Andre Bjorklund. Well, you had both myself and James thinking, is he going to make it? Is it going to be a one-stopper? You proved it can work. Congratulations. You must be absolutely sweating bullets after that race.
I'm actually pretty chilled right now.
But well done. Well done. Congratulations.
Yes,
talk to us about it, because you were very calm. We didn't see any mistakes. You know, we saw on your lap times, you were saving like 0.8 of a second in comparison, like, say, you and Bremer and Richard Simnor, who were going about 0.8 of a second quicker. How much did that help in terms of keeping the fuel there? Because then on the penultimate lap, you put in your fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I actually tried to push to get the fastest lap overall in the race at the end there, but it's not easy when you have been fuel saving almost for an hour to switch over to the push mode and actually get good laps in. So that's the only thing I'm not pleased about, but I'm stoked to actually make the plan work. I laid the plan last night after the practice session, and it worked out pretty good.
I love it. He comes in, Alex, and says, "Oh, I've made it last, and I've done one stop, but I'm not happy about the fact I didn't get the final lap." Yeah, I know. Come on, Kim. Jesus Christ, you've just absolutely shocked everybody. You just won a race by 10.5 seconds. You fuel saved for 60 minutes. God blimey, son. Go away happy with something.
I'm happy. I'm really happy. I'm just. It would be a nice icing on the cake.
Yeah, I know. Cherry on top and all that, but look, mate, you did a stellar job, didn't he, Alex? And I think he had us both stumped here as well.
Yeah, exactly. Kim, I mean, we don't really need to talk much about it because you've done an absolutely stellar job. I've nicknamed you the Norwegian Sergio Perez in a GT4 car after that. I mean, like it was a strategy that kept us guessing, and of course we don't have any idea of what you guys are planning, but to pull off a stroke and one stop and get it done by nearly 10.6 seconds around this circuit is an incredible achievement. So that's the biggest talking point of the season so far. I mean, forget about who's going to win the championship. I think that's just been, I think for me, the biggest highlight. So anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, Kim?
Of course, my teammates, who's every time pushing me and helping me, and Anders Liljeorda, who was sitting with me last night, making the calculations on how we could do it. He tried to, but I was just that smidge better at saving the fuel, so he gave up.
Well, Kim, thank you so much. Well done tonight, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us here this evening. Have a good night, and well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Ooh,
Right.
I nearly moved you out the booth. Who would you like next, dear sir?
Okay. Let's bring in our AM class winner, Gordon Hauger.
Oh yes, sorry, I pressed on the wrong one. There you go,
right.
dear sir. He's there.
Well, Gordon, good evening. It's been an interesting one for you tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a I had a mishap in one of the corners there, and I think I was back at 17th or 18th place. But a lot of things happened in front of me, so yeah, it was a good race. I couldn't keep the pros behind me, but very pleased with the place in the end, I have to say. 6th or 7th or something like that.
7th, and you picked up the AM class win, another one for a feature. Not, but of course, your biggest moment this season so far was Long Beach, despite the talk about how the start was negotiated by drivers, but you won that on merit, which we won't take away from you on that front. But still, to be, race one was 15-minute sprints. We all know it's everyone's for themselves. It's a case of just sort of, as you said, you're looking forward to joining us for the GT4 Global Challenge, which I'm really excited to see how you get on when we get underway with Media Day on March 20th. But yeah, I think you've proved yourself very, very admirably over the course of the last few races of the season. But the McLaren still was pretty good around here, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very hungry for gas for sure, and it takes a little bit more time than the Porsches to fill it up in the pit. So maybe I'm gonna switch to Porsche next season. I don't know, but I think you have to put me and Nico into the pro next season.
Yes, you and Mr. Forniciari, definitely. That's something that you both have come in and just literally showcased your skills in GT4 machinery. But well done tonight on the AM class win in the feature. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, the guys at Sim Racing Norway, and especially Kim, did a hell of a job today with saving fuel. We were not sure if he would succeed, but they had done this thoroughly on the calculator, and also Anos, and you guys for pulling this through.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gordon Hauger. Good evening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Okay, time for one more interview, and it is none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Richard Simnor. Good evening, Rich. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm a legend. Awesome. Yeah, not bad.
Well, I had to look, James has given you enough big intros, so I thought it was my turn to have an attempt at that. So I hope I did you proud, mate.
The man,
she
the
said.
legend. But yeah, yeah.
But let's talk about the race evening. a win in the sprint. Of course, it was a bit of a reverse of what we the first half of the race before you overtook Anders Lilliorde. It was a bit of a boot on the other foot situation, like we saw in Mugello last week, where he was trying to get past you and you went no, and and then you made the move on him, took the win in the sprint, but then finishing P3 in the feature. Of course, how surprised were you on Kim Andre Bjorklund's ability to put in a one stopper? I have to throw this question because
you want to talk about legends? There's your real legend. What a guy! I mean, we were saying, oh, he's gonna do the fuel save strat. Look at what he's doing. He just let me by, and I'm like, yeah, he's going for one stop, and he made it work, and he coughed over line, and it's just like, dude. We all said to him on the voice comms after we went over the line, we're like, what a guy. Yeah, that was fantastic, to be honest, to see that work for him. And it was quite a fun race. I think I just decided to let my hair down a little bit and just go for it, really. Yeah, the guys are always saying, "Oh, Rich, you drive boring," and all this good stuff. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just go full send then.
yeah, you did that. You did that in the sprint race, mate. But
Yeah.
I think also now that that we've had another, we've had another really, really exciting night race here at Motegi. Obviously, we had it at Daytona earlier on this season. To still be back, and we both know, me, James, and you, we all know that given the opportunity to come back and compete in a full season, of course, we have got the GT4 Global Challenge coming up on March 20th with the media day at Monza without the first chicane. What do you think of the calendar for the season that's coming up, buddy?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword, that question. This calendar looks great. This championship is absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm otherwise committed with Motorsport UK's championship. They Paul Crawford, who's esports manager there, he's actually in DCW, and he's always sort of clamoring us to get us involved to help him out. So we decided to all pile onto that. And I mean, it's only a 4-round championship, but it's on the same nights, and so I'd end up doing 6 rounds again. It just this season. I think when I look back and look at the PC woes, if I didn't have those PC woes, where would I be? I probably would have been at the front, and it kind of just rankles me a little bit. But if I know I can win, I want to compete for the whole season. So yeah, a little bit bittersweet, really. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be back the season after. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if anybody wants to get involved in GT4s, this is the championship. It really is great. The atmosphere is great. The drivers are all friendly, and yeah, we all have a really great time and help each other out. So yeah, a great intro to GT4s, and for if you're any speed, really, there's guys of all abilities. Yeah, it's worth getting involved.
Brilliant. Rich, anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, mate?
Oh, you guys, you've done an absolutely fantastic job, all season long, and it's been fantastic to watch, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy watching that one back. So, yeah, great.
Brilliant. Rich Simnor, thank you so much for joining us in the interview booth, and have a good evening, mate. We'll see you soon, no doubt.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, final thoughts, James, because before we close things up, I mean, Kim Andre Bjorklund being called a legend by Richard Simnor. Would you believe that was going to come out of his mouth?
I think if I was Kim Andre, I'd be going back putting that into a soundbite.
Mate,
to be honest,
that's going to be put on an Instagram reel on my social media later on.
Yeah, we'll get a soundboard made of it, because that was just what he pulled off was an absolute masterstroke, and he did it so well. And it was, do you know, the thing is as well is they both come out and said we knew he was doing it, but it's like they knew, but they couldn't do anything about it. It's like they'd already committed to their own strategy, and he just couldn't do anything about it. So it's one of them. Unfortunately, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and well, they both hit the rocks either side, didn't they? Because Kim Andre just went through and did a stellar job.
Yeah, well, folks, quite a lot of action coming up. Because, well, if you are still wanting to watch some racing action, there's going to be PRL Tier 2, which is currently underway. Actually started half an hour ago. That's live here on JPB. I think we've also got the Sim Racing Collective GT3 Season 7, Round 6 at the Nürburgring. Tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. UK time, along with Radical Race Series at 8:30. Friday the 1st of March, the final round of the TSRC F4 Sprint season at Road Atlanta. And then also we've got Season 3 of the JPB TCR season getting underway at 8:30 p.m. iFormula League returns with round 6 at Spa on Saturday. Sunday, there's quite a lot. I mean, Pearl GT4 round 2, Coffee Cup Monza round 3 at Monza, Pole Position Racing round 7 at Baku, and IGP F3 Series round 10 at Interlagos. And I think also iFormula F3 at Spa as well. Folks, that's it from us here at JPB GT4 for round 10 of the GT4 Championship. Of course, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It has been a real pleasure. Of course, if this is the final round of this season, it's been a real pleasure for both myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt to call you through all the action. We will let you know via the JPB social medias if round 11 at Red Bull Ring will be going ahead after the big week 13 iRacing update. But as they say, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, flat out. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Jungle.